Hello, everybody. What is up? It's Bishla here, and today we are feeling pretty excited. There's a lot to be hopeful about. I'm going to get into why. So I believe, and I'm not certain about this, but I think the entire problem with the mic being finicky was just the recording app I was using. Now, I saw that the app only had a 2-star review for Rode, but I just figured I'd use it. But there's a lot of, again, negativity surrounding it. So I'm using a different app, and even just now I was getting a little bit frustrated because the microphone was not being picked up by the Rode recording app. I just wanted to use that as a metric to see if it was getting picked up. But it looks like it is getting picked up by this new app I'm using. So I don't really have any way of knowing what's going on. We will find out when I get home, presumably, but it is possible, again, that this will be the first recording with the good mic. Now, in addition to that, I also have some other news. I decided to stop being lazy and finally look up some things about the differences in microphone quality between the iPhone 16 Pro Max and my current iPhone 14 Plus. And I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that they completely overhauled the microphone system, specifically on the 16 Pro. And I didn't even know that, but I'm assuming you guys could not believe how happy I was about that. I mean, what perfect timing did I pick to pull the trigger? And it was a blind trigger pull, by the way, because I hadn't even researched into it yet. Isn't that crazy? So I assume, if all my theories are correct about things, that the problem with the actual mic may be fixed. But even if it's not, the phone microphone should be improved. It definitely should sound better with the 16 Pro Max. To get into the specs briefly, just based off of my memory, the 16 Pro now uses a quad, which is 4, for those who do not know, microphone system, as opposed to the prior 3 or triple microphone system, for those who don't know. For those who don't know what 3 is, 3 means triple. Now, the previous one was only stereo, and this new one is some kind of special fancy spatial audio. I don't know that is very relevant for me. I think I will switch it into standard stereo or even mono for voice recording, but it's there. And not only has the quantity of mics increased, but it is also the quality, by the way. And I am just thrilled. I am absolutely euphoric at this knowledge being presented to me that I had been lazy in putting off. So it's very good to know. Now, the little bit disappointment is the selfie cam is hardware-wise unchanged. But, well, I mean, actually, the hardware could be different. I didn't really look into it that thoroughly, but the aperture and the megapixels are the same, which is a little bit disappointing, but I can't say I was super surprised because when I got my 14 Plus, they had just upgraded the front-facing camera for the 14, so I can understand why it might take until the 17 for them to upgrade it again. Now, there's another idea of why do I not use the back camera, as it obviously would be better, and I just think it's a little bit risky. But it's definitely something I would plan. I don't even think the problem boils down to being able to see myself. I obviously I'm in a car, so I should be able to get a stand that will just kind of hold the phone in a static position, and I'll know that it's a good position. It's not really that. I think it's the anxiety of hitting record and not knowing if the recording has stopped or not. That's really the problem. If there was some kind of way to have a yes, I'm still recording indicator somewhere on the back of the phone, then that would be one thing. But that is not present. So it's actually not so much about the fact that I can't see myself while recording. It's that I can't know if, like, what if something happened and it stopped and I needed to start again. So that's really the problem. I'm also noticing when I go over bumps and stuff, obviously it does shake the phone quite a bit. And I mean, I don't know if it exists or not, but they really could make a shock resistant stand or something, but kind of tricky. I just need to wise up and get a better car. I need to get something luxurious that really handles bumps nice and smooth for you guys. If anybody wants to buy me a very expensive, plush, very cozy suspension car, feel free to send it my way. I will give you my address. Just let me know. Just let me know when and who would like to do that. Maybe a group of you want to get together. I don't care how you do it, but as long as it's done, I will be in complete agreement, and I will give you my address. I believe that is most of what I wanted to talk about. And I think that sums it up, does it not? Well, of course you guys wouldn't know because you're not me, but you might know. I think at this point you might kind of have a feel for schla. I don't even think I did the intro. I don't even think I said this is Car Rides Wit SLA. How awkward of me. You guys probably pointed that out like immediately. I don't know what. I feel like this is something I wanted to talk about. I know. The whole like recording thing is quite a bit more intense and awkward to like set up and stuff, especially with like putting the mic on. It's a lot easier at the end of the day because I usually already have my hair up, but I think I'm going to have to start putting my hair up like before I leave the house, because it's so hard to put this headset on with all my hair in the way. It's just not good. But yeah, I think it's just awkward. It's kind of weird to get used to having to like do this whole setup. I mean, it was one thing getting used to just doing the phone. That was already like kind of strange in and of itself, but the phone is very like laid back and chill. There's not really much to it. You know what I'm like? It's chill. Using the phone, everything's just set up. It's all working. Very straightforward. This microphone adds a lot of complication, and I think the main issue, honestly, is where it's applying the complication, right? If I'm at home and I have to deal with mic complication, that's fine. But when I'm either in the morning going to work or at the end of the day leaving work, I'm not really trying to deal with that. I think you guys can understand. It's just kind of like, it's less of an issue on the way home. What was I saying? It's less of an issue, I think, coming home. Yeah, that was what I meant to say. It's more of an issue like in the morning, because in the morning, like, I'm just trying to get there. I just want to get in my car and go, and I'll probably get faster and better at it and just more used to it over time. But especially when there's still been this anxiety of if the thing's even going to work, I think that has been an issue. So I think once I get the kinks ironed out, I think it could be like a more efficient system. And just in general, I really think it's just a matter of getting the kinks ironed out and stuff. So we're working on it. It's a work in progress, and we'll see how things go, really, right? I think I've always been saying that. But I think that's something I did want to talk about, my feelings about the whole microphone thing. It is definitely something to get used to, and I am in the process of getting used to it. But in the meantime, there may be some awkward slip-ups, such as forgetting to do my intro, which is not Not a good thing, is it? The main features of those microphone improvements that I'm kind of interested in is stuff like it should be better at reducing background noise or wind noise. I don't really think wind is an issue in a vehicle, but if I ever was doing any outside recording, that is good to know. Any emergency outdoor records, the iPhone 16 Pro will be superior to my current 14. So that is very good to know. And again, I was euphoric. I was pleasantly surprised by that. What else is there to talk about? I think I wanted to get a bit political today, if that's okay with you guys. I don't know that I'm going to get into anything. It could be controversial, but it's schla. I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of weird ideas. But I mean, when I say political, I don't know that it's really... I mean, how political is it? It's still political, but I'm going to stop lollygagging. I was really thinking today about equality and fairness and really the lack thereof in society and kind of systems that should be in place to kind of hopefully ensure equality or to try to make things fairer. And I was realizing something I think pretty important when it comes to that. So I'm sure you guys maybe have come across certain people like this, but I think there are a lot of people who are poor who I don't even know like how unhappy they are. I think, and I don't want to say this to act like it's okay, because I don't think it's okay the way things have been. There is what looks to be an ambulance or something in my lane, so does that mean I need to get over? I think I'm going to get over. Some guy just did some crazy cut to like get out of my way. I'm not really sure what that was about because he didn't need to do that, but I am now not in the lane that it could be a fire truck, but I think it's an ambulance. And yes, some guy like really cut me up. Anyways, sorry, there are some people where I feel like they really, it almost becomes their identity to be poor and like hating the rich and whatnot. It is an ambulance, not a... Now, of course, this tractor trailer, instead of being patient, just decided to like plow past me. I don't know. He could have just stayed in his lane, but sorry, we're gonna lock in now. Don't worry, we are going to lock in. Some people, I think, hating the rich and being poor, it kind of becomes their personality to a point where I don't even know if they like want to be rich. Like, I think some people are happy with the struggle, and I think the struggle gives a lot of meaning and stuff like that. And I think it's relevant to bring that up because when it comes to fairness, I think there are very important things with that. We do know that people's brains are operating at different levels. I think I used to be a type of person that liked to believe everybody was equal, or, you know, if anybody worked hard enough, they could get somewhere or learn something, but I am not really sure of that anymore. The older I've gotten and the more I've seen, I think it's pretty clear, as much as it's a bit of an uncomfortable truth, some people are born very gifted and some are not. And there's a lot that goes into that. Some of it could be genetic, but other times it's environmental. And obviously, if you're born into a better situation, then chances are you're going to be raised in a better environment. And it's a lot of luck, and it's a lot of things like that. Now, typically for what I would consider the golden age of society, which was what, the like 50s to the 80s or 90s-ish. I mean, even just, let's just say the 1900s, there really was a lot of very clear and direct progress towards bringing access to bringing resources and things like education to a much larger swath of people. And we're kind of starting to see that diminish and deteriorate to where I really don't think education is valued in the same way as it was. I just don't. I think not only is it more expensive and a lot of people are now having to make a choice between going to college and getting educated versus a career, but also I think people are losing interest. There's not entirely a reason to be intelligent anymore. Boredom is eliminated very easily and quickly in this day and age. And so you don't really need to, I don't know, I think a lot of people, there already was a lazy nature to people, and I think that's just escalated because now, like if you were bored before, you may have pursued a higher learning or some kind of intellectual pursuit, but now you can just kind of surround yourself with screens and just brain rot through it. Like I don't know that there's really that need to there's not really that need anymore. I think finding my words is actually a little difficult for this conversation. I guess it's more suited for a sit down, but that's not going to stop me from trying. There was this push for that and a lot of progress towards that, and I think we're starting to see it slip away. Now, the main thing I was thinking about when it comes to fairness, and I think this is an important point, because fairness, now I don't know that I believe this statement, but my 7th grade social studies teacher said it, and he said, fairness is not everybody getting the same, it's everybody getting what they need. And I think that, I don't know, I'm not saying that I believe that, I'm just saying I think it correlates with the concept that I'm about to entertain. And it's that maybe it is ethical to some degree the way things are. There are people where I think if you gave them a lot of money, they wouldn't really appreciate it. And there are people who are poor. There are some people where I don't know what they would really do with it. I mean, they might spend it on going out to eat, just blowing it on food, traveling, right? That's kind of what I think of when I think of like these kind of base level things that a lot of people want to do with money. I just think it's interesting. Now, that is not to diminish the severity of what's going on. I am well aware that the bottom level people, the bottom income earners, the bottom wealth holders are not, like, it is not okay. And I do think there should be a floor that's better than the way it is now. But I think that also comes through different changes than necessarily just handing money to poor people, because that's not really the problem. I think the problem mostly lies in the parasitic nature of modern society. You are basically in an environment that is so toxic. There are advertisements plastered everywhere. There are things that go on that cause people to make completely unhealthy choices. And that's really the root of the problem. not only just unhealthy choices, but bad spending habits. This is mainly to do with the nature of online shopping. I mean, if you think in the past, if you wanted to blow money, you'd have to drive to a mall and, physically walk around, look for stuff, and the mall will not have what you truly want, most likely. I mean, they stock stores to try to appeal to a broad swath of the populace, but the internet has completely changed the way we interact with shopping. With the advent of the internet, you now end up literally having access to whatever you could possibly want, and you don't even need to leave your house to get it. It is shipped right to you. Now, humans, we're fairly weak. I mean, we fall for these temptations and these ads and these things. It's not easy for us to just, because a lot of people say that, oh, just be responsible, just save your money. But really, I don't know that humans are meant to be like that. You could have a society with rules and regulations in place to prevent these toxic excess spending habits. And again, this is not to necessarily diminish the significance of income inequality, but I think the concept I'm talking about is a very big contributor to it, right? And I think rather than getting into an argument of redistribution of wealth, I think it is more critical to talk about regulations that could be put into place to prevent these cheap grabs targeting lower income individuals. There's a lot of ways the system is very stacked against people who are poor, and it's not fair. The way credit works, think about it. Who actually needs a credit card? Poor people. Rich people do not need credit cards. They have plenty of money. There's basically no reason for them to even ever need to use a credit card. However, what happens is you get rewards and access to better credit cards with more rewards and more cash back the richer you are. The richer you are increases your credit score basically automatically, and then you have access to more of a discount when you're already richer. Does this make any sense? No. It's just, it is so crazy to me that, I mean, I'm sure people notice it, but I don't even think any of that should be legal. I think there should be probably regulations in place to just outright prevent any rewards for any credit cards or anything like that. It should just be everybody just has the same card. I mean, you obviously have to have some kind of system in place to negate people who are just not going to pay. But I'm talking about the cash back and these different rewards and stuff. I just don't even think that should be allowed. It should just be a credit card's just a credit card, and you just buy on credit. There's no reward. There's no, it's for people who need it. It's a fail safe. And again, most people who need it are poor people. So I don't know why we've baked in a system that poor people need, but give rich people an advantage. It's not fair. It doesn't make any sense. And I get that it's small, but it's just not fair. I don't know. I see nothing fair about that. So I think we have reached the income inequality that we have due to lack of regulation, due to lack of common sense regulations that specifically promote a society that is maybe more ethical, more moral, particularly kinder and less parasitic to lower income groups of people. I mean, it happens in so many ways. There are just so many things. If you think of status symbols and having to have a nice car, and how a lot of times it means more to someone who's poor to have a nice car, and you have people who are lower income who can't really afford it, but because of their lifestyle and the way they were raised, maybe it just means so much to them to have a BMW or a Mercedes, whereas rich people can just afford it and it might not even mean much to them. And that kind of gets to, I think, the crux of my thing about equality is care. I think that care is incredibly important in terms of the way money should be distributed. Because again, some people, I just don't think they care that much. They might be happy with what they have and happy with where they're at, and that's okay, right? There is a certain percentage of people who reach that. I think the main problem I have is that there are rich people who have like a ton of money, but they definitely just don't really appreciate it, or it doesn't really faze them. And I think that is very immoral. And what I mean by this is, like, if you're rich, I think you should be very grateful, and you should be doing and executing like interesting ideas with your money, you know, things that are cool or take some kind of higher level thought to appreciate. But there could be rich people out there who just blow it, you know, blow it on whatever they want. I think I'm going to pause too, because a lot of people, I think, have issue with a lot of my takes and philosophy on things, because it's fairly rigid, and a lot of humans almost instinctively, for some reason, are turned off by rigidity or optimization. A lot of people just want to live and let live and let loose and have things fall how they want to fall. And I just completely disagree with that. I don't really understand. I mean, I think things are dire enough, right, to where maybe you could see that there's merit to the kind of mindset that I'm talking about. And I think it's actually something that even poor people believe that hurts themselves. Because even if you decide you don't want to optimize and you want to live and let live, not everybody thinks like that. And there's going to be evil people out there who are taking advantage of that and abusing that, and again, creating a system that is bad. So you got to be careful. Yeah, that's what I think you really have to be careful with that kind of stuff when we're talking about, oh, like you're too Schla, you're too rigid. You know, I'm just trying to chill, and things don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be optimized. Just chill. You know, it's okay if things aren't perfect. I just want to be human. I just want to be cozy. I mean, maybe to a degree, but I think more people are going to be gravitating towards, well, I think a group of people will be gravitating towards more rigidity and direction. But I do think some people will probably stay stuck in the just mindless kind of stuff. I don't know that that's really going to change, honestly. So I don't know what I was really going with that. I think a portion of the populace will crave a little more purpose, but I don't think everybody will. I think there's obviously going to be people who do just kind of go with the flow, and that's always how humans are. But again, that is the problem. I think good people have good intuition about how things should be, and they just want to be chill. But they don't realize that if you don't care and you have evil people who set up systems where they take advantage of you, that's really bad. And I mean, there's probably people maybe would say to me they don't even care about that. So I don't know, but I think a system based on care is incredibly important. Kind of back to what I was saying. There are some people who are poor, and if they got a raise, it would mean like so much to them. And then there's people who are rich and they get a raise, and it's just kind of like more food on the plate, right? And I think that's like a huge problem. But I don't really know that there is much of an ethical issue with somebody who's rich, but they're really grateful for it, and they're, again, doing interesting or good things with their money. And I'm sure there are people like that out there, and I don't think it takes an absorbent amount of money to get there. I kind of feel like even just being a millionaire, you could have so much joy and do so many like crazy things being a millionaire. And that's kind of why the billionaire thing, I think there is question about that as to whether billionaires really need to exist. I mean, it would be one thing if they were doing good for the world, I suppose. Like I am sort of open to, like I was trying to say, I mean, I guess if you had a billionaire who was very humanitarian and was doing good like things. I mean, I'm kind of interested in like science and human progression. So if they were like really putting a lot of money and funding into the greater good, I can kind of see that. But I think the problem is becoming a billionaire is almost counterintuitive to a lot of those like ideas. I don't know that that's really how it works. Like I almost think $1 billion is too much money to even, I mean, it's so much. I don't even know what kind of crazy stuff you can do with that kind of money. And again, you see a lot of these billionaires do all kinds of stuff to avoid paying taxes and to get the money to their kids and all this kind of stuff, and like avoiding a lot of taxes. It's kind of why we're having a lot of the debt issues that we're having, because rich people aren't paying taxes. So, there's long-term damage to that, and there's loopholes that should be closed that politicians on both parties keep talking about closing, and they don't. So that is very sad and disappointing, obviously, and there's probably some lying going on. But it is what it is, right? No, it's not is what it is. It should be better. It should be better. But I think care is important. I think if somebody is like genuinely has vision and wants to do good with their money, I don't know. I mean, it kind of makes sense that there would be inequality. But I think that people end up romanticizing the idea of being rich. And then so they don't really put in limits that should be there. I think that's a good way to describe it. I think there's a lot of people who might vote for certain policies just because they romanticize the idea and not because they actually know what's best for them, basically. Because I don't know, for me personally, I think I would like to be wealthy at some point. I think it would be nice. But I don't really need to be like absorbently wealthy. I think if I was near a millionaire, that would probably be like completely fine for me. I don't even know. Like if my net worth was just like just $1 million, that would be a lot. I can't really imagine why anybody would really need more than that. I don't know. I mean, even that's kind of pushing it. I think a lot of that is just like a house adds a lot. But I'd probably be pretty happy with that kind of, I mean, that just seems like so much to me. So that's why when we're talking about billionaires, it is just like, whoa. Like, I think that's actually, so a lot of people I think are very deficient with math, and I think that's part of the problem. I don't know that people understand just how much money $1 billion is. Like, I think people, it's just a word a lot of times, like numbers. I really do think they go over people's heads. But $1 billion is such an intense and severe amount of money. It's just, I mean, it's almost nonsensical. I can't even, it's insane. It's just complete insanity to have that much money. I don't know why that's necessary. Because like I said, 1 million is so much less. And even that, I mean, if I had 1 million, I would be fine. I would be so fine. There's no reason why I would ever need more than that. So 1 billion? I don't know, dude. That's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. So, yeah, I guess that's some political stuff. I hope I didn't step on too many toes, but it is my thoughts about things. You know, I don't think we need absolute equality, but the way things are now is just not fair. It just doesn't make any sense. There's too many things out there that are just designed directly to take advantage of people, and that perpetuates income inequality. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't know that you really need to get into direct income distribution as long as you have a society that is not literally taking advantage of people that hard, right? Because then less income would be in the few and more income would just stay in poor people. I mean, the lottery is a huge example of this, right? The lottery, the data shows they purposely put it in areas and target it towards lower income individuals. Because again, it's so statistically unlikely that you would win. And even if you do win, it's dirty money. I don't know why people really want that. It's like poor people's money. Does that really make any, like, I don't know that I'm going to ever want to play the lottery because of that. Most of the money going into it is broke people. It's not rich people. Most people who pay the lottery are poor. Because again, it goes back to this thing of, if you're rich, you don't need to buy a lottery ticket. But a poor person, if they're already like down and they don't think they're really going to make it in life, then yeah, I don't know, why wouldn't they just play the lottery? And that's the whole thing. But it's a bad mindset, because it does still end up hurting people financially in the long term, because it's like that thing. And again, the people who make these systems are aware of it. They're aware of everything, and they just use it to take advantage. So the lottery is a regressive tax, and probably even gambling is a fairly regressive tax, because at the end of the day, whether it's rich or poor people who gamble, the money always ends up getting funneled to a small group. Obviously the casinos win. Those are who win in gambling. The small guy never wins with gambling. The rich person, they might lose some money, but a rich person can lose money. It's no biggie. But the small guy never wins, and the casino always wins. So I don't even, like, why is it even legal? You know? There was a time the lottery wasn't legal. It was just illegal. That was probably a better time. Like, I don't know. Things have just gotten completely out of hand, and I think some of this stuff needs to be addressed by somebody. Maybe it'll be me. I'd be fine with putting my head in the ring. Head in the ring. That is not the expression. Is it? Is it really head in the ring? I thought it was putting myself in the ring, I think. I'm like, I wouldn't be fine with, I'd be fine with dabbling in politics. I mean, it'd be cool to be, I think for a portion of my life, maybe when I'm older, or I could just be a commentator. But yeah, I do have a lot of interesting views, I think, but with a lot of nuance too. Like I said, I mean, I'm not even like done talking, but I'm going to have to do the wrap up. Wow. So I guess it's time. TLDR with SLA. Today we talked about more microphone issues, but microphone joy at the same time. So there is more of a silver lining than yesterday's episode. And then we also went into a bunch of political stuff. It's getting crazy. It might be getting controversial. And we started talking about a lot to do with equality and how feelings play into equality, which I think is an interesting angle that not a lot of people talk about, but SLA talked about it. So title for the episode, From Euphoric Mics to Uneuphoric Inequality. SLA out.